Interviews with top newsmakers, leaders, and interesting people. This is Talk of the Tiers.
Welcome to Talk of the Tiers. Glad you could be here with us this week after we took a week off for vacation. I have a repeat offender this week, the Honorable Daniel Mandell, the Mayor of Elmira. Thanks for being here again, Mayor.
Thank you, Jim, for having me here. I'm glad to be here.
We always have good conversations when you're on the show. Is this your third or fourth time?
Third time,
okay.
I believe, yes.
Good.
Yes.
All right, well, as we always start, I'd like to ask you to verify you and I have not discussed the questions.
Correct.
And you'll be hearing them the first time when I ask them.
Absolutely.
All right, well, we'll just dive right into it. All right, we're 3/4 of the way through 2025. Mm-hmm. When you look back on the year so far, what are some things that you think the city's done that have gone very well?
Some of the things is getting some additional development into the city. I'm very happy to see that we've been working hard to get the travel center over on East Church Street, which my understanding is once it passes through DOT, which will happen here shortly, that construction is going to begin hopefully later this year. And just recently, we did a groundbreaking for Taco Bell. To have a franchise like that come into your city on the south side where we haven't had a lot of development was a big plus for us as well. So those are probably the two biggest things that we've done very well, I think, this year.
And that Taco Bell story has been good to us on our website. Yeah, it's a lot of page views every time that there's an update, because I think people around there really want it to come in, man. Give them another option.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of people in the community, and they were excited to see that a Taco Bell was going to be right in our downtown area on the south side. So I think the store is going to do very, very well. And again, I'm very excited about that travel center. That's going to add a lot to the city, bring people in from off the highway, you know, and spend money in our community.
Well, it's not just the travel center, because right across the right across the street is what I was going to say.
Right.
Dandy Mart's planning a pretty big expansion as well.
Yes, they are. And as I say, competition is always good, and I forgot all about that till you mentioned it. So that's another plus that came out of that agreement to bring that travel center in. And then just lastly, the other thing that we're working on right now is helping with possibly getting a new hardware store built where the Lindenwald place is right now. We have an individual, he owns the Century Hardware over by Streeters right now, and he wants to expand his business and build new over there, which would be great, getting that blight tore down and a brand new commercial building built over there.
Yeah, another hardware store is a good thing in my mind, because, you know, if we want something, we can't find it at what's Value Center Hardware, you got to run to Horseheads or over to Painted Post.
Yeah, pretty much, and this would be a large hardware store that would allow people to shop right here in Elmira.
Well, that's good, because, you know, if you're a homeowner, every once in a while you need some plastic anchors and screws or painter's tape or whatever. You need little things.
Right.
And so it's nice to have some place close by you can go get that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So how about things that are going on that are currently frustrating you a little bit?
Oh, what's frustrating me the most is trying to deal with these encampments and the homeless. It's always, you know, we've talked about this 100 times. As of right now, we've had actually put a officer on the 3 to midnight shift or 3 to 11 shift, walking in the downtown area to prevent these, you know, homeless from being a problem in our downtown, you know, harassing citizens, throwing garbage all over the place. And we've also had to start doing weekly sweeps with our code, our Department of Public Works, and also our police, because we still find them trying to camp out under the bridge and so forth. So that's a headache. That's a major problem. The other thing is, of course, is the battle against crime. Mm-hmm. We try to keep our, you know, a lid on everything, but it keeps our police very, very busy. So that's always frustrating. And we're working on our 2026 budget right now, which is going to be an interesting year. We'll see how that all falls out, but it's going to be, you know, it's going to be a difficult budget year, I'm sure.
Yeah, what was the third quarter or the second quarter was good with sales tax revenue. The first quarter was not.
You're right, and I think right now we're right on track to maybe hit our sales tax numbers. Hopefully it picks up here the next 2 quarters, but we'll see.
Okay, now I want to prove this, because you just said homelessness, and the next question I was going to ask you was that. So I thought when you were here the first time, I forget, January or February of last year, I thought you had a quite interesting idea about how to deal with this. And I've asked people in this forum and in other places I've done interviews about what you said, and they all agree it was a good idea, which was arrest homeless people with drug problems, put them in jail so they can get off the stuff. And I've not had anybody in these interviews tell me they thought that was a bad idea.
Yeah.
Everybody thought it was a good idea, but the city council wouldn't go along with it. Isn't that right?
Oh, they ended up getting the votes.
Oh,
we had
you
one
did?
council member that voted against it.
Right.
So this is with the encampment bill, and what I did with that resolution is made it a misdemeanor. So, you know, the first time they're caught, they can get up to 90 days in jail, and the second time it could be up to a year. So it does. It puts you know, pressure on the homeless to get help, so they don't end up being incarcerated. But if they are, like I said before in my prior interviews, they can go to jail and get the services they need, both mental health and drug and alcohol counseling. I think this is just one way we have to combat them. In conjunction with that, we have been working with DSS to do some outreach too to try to get these people some help. And the sad part of it, just a lot of them don't want that help.
Yeah, if you talk to any homeless advocate or somebody who works directly with the homeless, they'll tell you two things. There is a huge mental health and drug abuse. Two problems. There are huge mental health and drug abuse problems out there in the streets. And a large majority of these folks, they really don't want to be housed. They want to be out there so they can do the drugs and stuff. And they'll also tell you that the only way to solve this is get them off the drugs.
Yeah.
And you can't do that if you're just writing them a little ticket and telling them, oh yeah, you go right back out.
Exactly. And that's where bail reform hurts us, because, you know, in the past we'd be able to take them to the county jail and set bail, but now they get their appearance ticket. But with the hope with that is that over time, once they get enough appearance tickets, the judge will end up putting these individuals in jail, so possibly they can get the help and treatment they need, or even get into a drug court program that would mandate them to get treatment.
Yep. All right, well, we'll be back in 2 minutes with Mayor Mandell. I hope you can stick around. Welcome back to Talk of the Tiers. We're here with the Honorable Daniel J. Mandell, the mayor of Elmira. I just like saying the whole thing. It sounds good. So, Water Street reconstruction's going on. Man, it seems like it's been going on since like 10 years ago.
Yeah,
it hasn't
it's taken a long time.
It's taken a long time, but it's starting to come together.
Yeah, it really is. They, as you saw, they dug out deep into the earth there to remove all the undercoatings that were there, and now they're getting ready to start paving it. I'm looking forward to have that completed, hopefully here soon, because it's been a real problem for traffic, I know. And with construction comes a lot of, you know, detours and so forth.
But they had the pedestrian bridge closed for a while too, which I didn't personally like, but it needed to happen. You didn't want people crawling over all that stuff.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
Right. So one of the things that I know American cities are really struggling with, because you keep seeing it now, there's a story today about a school bus falling into a sinkhole caused by a broken sewer line.
Right.
How's the city of Elmira doing with its old sewer and water lines? I mean, those have got to be replacements. Are going to have to be made one of these days.
I would think so. Obviously, the sewer is run by the county, but I think our sewer lines right now are in pretty good condition. And I know the water board, for a fact, is going through and replacing a lot of their older lines. I mean, some of those lines were back in the 1900s. So they're diligently trying to upgrade that infrastructure. So it's moving along. Luckily, water boards received numerous grants to help them with those projects. And of course, you know, with the sewer project, they got the big project going on with the sewage going to the Milton Street plant. But I think overall our infrastructure for sewer and water is in pretty good shape.
Yeah, that's something that all cities struggle with, because in most American cities, all those lines are really old, and replacing them is quite expensive.
Yeah.
It ain't cheap, let's put it that way.
No, it's millions of dollars, millions of dollars. I think the one lead line grant that the water board got several years ago was like $6 million.
Yeah, and that probably didn't take care of a whole lot.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. All right, what decisions have you made as mayor, I'll put you on the spot here a little bit, that you think show your leadership style quite clearly?
Well, a couple of things. One was definitely with the encampment ban, looking out for our constituents and our citizens for quality of life by passing that. I think that really demonstrated my leadership, because I knew I was going to get pushback from some people in the community on that. Pushing and advocating for our police, getting the shot spotters and the flock cameras, kind of took the lead on that.
Which have worked really well.
They've been a huge asset for us. Also supporting our police, showing leadership there. As you know, we did a segment last year when there was a use of force. But those were the two biggest things. The other thing I think part of my leadership has come in is this new solar project that we did. I met with REFI. Been almost a year now, and that's going to become a reality here, which will help us generate some revenue from the city. As you know, as a city, revenue generation is very difficult. It's usually sales tax, property tax, and some state aid. So I'm trying to look at different ways to raise revenue for the city, and we thought this would be one way not only to save us on electrical costs, but make some money off our leases on city property for electric.
We just talked about crime. How do you convince people who live in Elmira that Elmira does not have, the city of Elmira does not have a high crime rate?
Yeah, I mean,
it just does not.
Yeah.
You look at cities, smaller cities, bigger cities, the percentage crime, if you look at percentages per population, Elmira's crime rate's pretty low.
Yeah, it really is, and you know, you just got to keep pushing that message out there that, you know, on our part, that, you know, when we market Elmira, because that we're supposed to do as city leaders, is that it is a safe. Look at our crime statistics. The number of shootings have dropped dramatically, and most of our crime is, you know, usually misdemeanors. The felonies, the violent felonies, are usually targeted on different, you know, actors throughout the community.
Yeah, it's drug related almost all the time.
Yeah, it is. It is. So it's a very, you know, safe place to be. I mean, you can walk the streets downtown and not worry about getting robbed. Even a lot of the side streets. Elmira is just a very, very safe town. Very safe town.
I wouldn't want to walk on some of the sidewalks in the neighborhood residential areas at night.
Yeah.
Not because I wouldn't feel safe, it's because I feel like I'd trip on something and fall. Are you having any luck in getting people to repair or replace those sidewalks?
Yeah, it's a difficult because, one, they're so expensive.
Right.
I just had mine replaced a couple of years ago, and it ran me quite a bit of money. But we are trying to look for grants to help residents out, maybe do another 50-50 program. I know we've worked with the county on possibly maybe next year getting a grant from the state to do something like that. But sidewalks are tough.
Well, they're seeing. Let me ask you, how difficult is it for you now? You've got a majority Democrat council, which is a lot different than from the last time when we talked a year ago.
Right.
How difficult is it for a Republican to deal with a majority Democrat council?
It's been, they've worked with me very well. We've worked together very well, all except for one. But the six of us have basically put our heads together, come up with solutions. One of our new members, Council Member Bryn, and I work together we're working together on housing and things like that. Councilmember Cook trying to work on things in his district. Councilmember Jackie Wilson helping her out in her district. So we're working together as a team because we can't have the partisanship that you do on the state and national level. It just doesn't work. So things, in my opinion, have been going very, very well.
I think what you just said about you can't have the partisanship, I think a lot of people are going to see that and say, why can't we get that in Congress?
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother conversation for a whole different time.
Yes.
All right, we'll be back with more with Mayor Mandell in 2 minutes. Please stick around. Welcome back to Talk of the Tiers. This week here with Elmira Mayor Daniel Mandell. Mayor Mandell, the state of New York wants to mandate that all new construction and any appliances that are replaced will be electric. They don't want you to put, they're going to make it illegal to put gas appliances in any new construction. And let's say I'm a developer and I have an apartment building and I have water heater go out. I can't replace my gas water heater. Right. It's got to be electric. It on the surface, just from looking at the cost of it, it doesn't seem like it's a good idea for consumers. Now I know they want to go green with this, but isn't it going to be a lot more expensive to do only electric? And can the grid handle it?
It's a very good question, and I'm here to tell you that that's going to put a huge burden on the citizens of Elmira. It's going to deter development in our city. I guess the initial phase is any buildings under 7 stories have got to be, you know, all electric. Well, we only build, you know, 2, 3, 4-story homes and housing developments here in Elmira. It's going to stunt that growth. I just can't wrap my head around that. For people that have gas furnaces, and like myself, and gas water heaters, you're going to have to go all electric. Gas stoves to electric. That's very expensive. I don't know how people are going to afford that. I don't think this is well thought out. Bringing it back to the grid, NYSEG's not ready for this. Our grid's fragile now. And I think if you're aware of that, NYSEG's going to have a huge rate increase due to this demand that's going to be put on them by this new push for all electric housing. And you know, the governor's office, they're all trying to blame NYSEG. Well, the fact of the matter is the Public Service Commission is the one that approved these increases, and NYSEG's been clear, we have to have these increases if we're going to meet your mandate. It's not good. They really need to repeal it and think this through instead of pushing it through in one budget to the budget bill, which they did. They kind of hit it and pushed it through.
I'm always amazed when I see lawmakers pass all these bills that are going to cause more expense for companies, and they just expect, oh no, the company should eat that cost. Well, the companies are beholden to shareholders.
Right.
They got to keep their stock price up. They're not going to reduce. They're going to pass that cost along. Another good example of that, shoplifting.
Yeah.
Because it's not a victimless crime.
No.
I had a manager of a store in Horsehead tell me that his store is losing $50,000 a month to shoplifting,
Wow.
and those costs get passed on to the consumer. It's the same way with higher utility prices.
Yeah.
They're going to pass the costs on to the consumer. They're not going to absorb them, and they're a business. Why would they?
Yeah, exactly. You know, and a lot of the people are blaming NYSEG for this. Maybe NYSEG has some to blame as far as not keeping up on their infrastructure, but the big part of the blame of this goes back to this electrification. And you're right, they're going to have to pass the cost to the consumer, which is you and me.
Yep. All right, I always like higher bills. I'm a big fan.
I love it.
Money's for suckers.
Yeah,
right?
we'll just hand it out.
That's right, why not? All right, so how are things going with the construction of all the new things at Brand Park?
Very good. I just asked the city manager where we were. You know, we have the playground equipment's all installed. We're getting ready to do the splash pad. The splash areas, hopefully will be done this year. They're supposed to get started right here in September. And then that'll pretty much finish up everything at Brand Park. Very happy to see that.
I don't think I'm going to be jumping around in a splash pad late September, early October.
No, probably won't get used till next year. Would have been nice to have it done this year
Yeah,
with all the heat.
But it'll be great next late spring.
Absolutely.
It'll be nice. Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
right.
And you know, we did keep the facade in place.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're going to, you know, refurbish that too.
Yeah, that's good. All right, so the city of Elmira, the police finally moved in and shut down sticker shops.
Yes.
Took a while to come up with. It took a while to
Right.
I want to say negotiate. That may not be the right word, but to get the warranty.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the law where you wanted it to be.
Right.
So they shut them down. Now, and that was, our viewers found that very popular, by the way. We got a lot of positive feedback on that one. You know. Now they're saying that there are still people selling pot out of cars. They're doing home delivery and things like that. How do you really shut them down?
Yeah, that's very difficult. You just try to do your best. You know, the penalty for it is, you know, pretty much a fine.
Right.
We know some people are doing that, and you know, if we can stop them, we will. But it's hard. I know what's going on. I mean, I still believe there's a couple smaller stores around here that we're aware of that we'll be going after here soon to get those shut down. But what a mess.
You know, but you got to say, the person that came up with that business model and managed to skirt the law for so long, I mean, what they did was illegal, but man, that was pretty creative.
It was.
It really was. Okay, so are you happy, because I spoke with you and Willie Owens here a few weeks ago about the new Chemung County Football League.
Yes.
Are you happy with the turnout, how many kids have signed up, and when does play start?
I am thrilled. I was watching them practice last night. Practice has already started. I think we've got probably close to 180, 190 signups.
That's excellent.
Yeah, all brand new equipment. We've gotten a lot of donations, which has helped us out. We're planning on starting the week of, Sunday the 14th of September will be our first game. We're going to have flag for kids 4 to 7. That was our biggest turnout. We're going to have like 8 teams in that division. And then we have the 6th to 8th grade girls, and we're going to have 4 teams in that division. We're going to have 2 tackle divisions with 4 teams in each tackle division. So it's really turned out very well, and we still have people reaching out wanting to sign up. So it's been a hit. I'll tell you this, it's a lot of work.
Oh, I know.
I mean, on my part, I'm kind of helping out where I can logistically in that. The boots on the ground are the rest of the board, like Willie and all of his helpers are just doing amazing work.
My eldest played Pop Warner 3rd through 6th grade, so I know the work that goes into it, the parental involvement and everything. So congratulations, because that is another good thing for kids to get involved.
Absolutely,
Really.
and that's what we want to do. We want to give them a place to go and things to do.
Amen.
For sure.
All right, we'll be back to wrap up this week's Talk of the Tiers in 2 minutes. Please stick around. Welcome back to the Talk of the Tiers with Elmira Mayor, City of Elmira Mayor Daniel Mandell. I think people need to know that when it comes to your fight on blight, because you've talked about that for a while and it is moving forward, people get frustrated. We get complaints that it just takes so long, they say, to either knock down a property or move it away, and it's just not that simple. The city just can't move in and go bang and knock something down just on a whim.
That's correct. First of all, these structures are owned by private entities. So there's a process we have to go through. We have to get them to tear the building down or the house down and take away the debris. There's court proceedings you have to go through and all that. Obviously, we'll take it down if it's a danger. We must take it down. That's one thing. When it comes to cleaning up the debris, as you see, we got a couple piles in the city right now. It's very expensive. Everything's considered to have asbestos in it, and they do it by weight. So it does take time. I would like to report, though, the house on West Church Street that burned down, that's getting removed here in the next few weeks.
Oh, that's great.
So that pile is going. Our biggest pile over on the old church in Wisner Park area, it's going to take a little bit of time because the owner's not cooperating with us, and that's going to cost us probably up to $500,000 to remove.
Well, let me jump in because that was my next next question. We've had people wondering why they just can't walk in there and get some of those bricks, and they can't go in there. You know, that's dangerous.
It is dangerous. It is, and I recommend they don't do that. First of all, those bricks don't belong to the city of Elmira. Technically, they still belong to the home, to the owner of the property. Second of all is that there could be asbestos in there, and that's dangerous in itself. So that's why we tell people, please don't be going into
Well, there's
that.
a lot of liability. If somebody goes in, trips and falls, hits their head on those bricks, then guess who's liable?
Exactly. They'll be going after us and the property owner.
When's the city going to do something to really crack down on e-bikes and e-cycles?
You know, we've talked about that to
the
police chief, and he's aware of it because they're becoming a problem. They're a hazard. They're not following the traffic laws like they're supposed to and all that. So.
Yep. So I had a question I wanted to ask you. We're about running out of time about media coverage, but we're probably not going to get to it because you and I think, share a mutual disdain for the way the national media cover things.
Yes.
And I think local media, I think all of us try very hard just to get it right, tell the story. We're going to mess up once in a while, but it's not because we're trying to put across any particular political leaning. We're not doing. Okay, here's my last question for you today. We got about 30 seconds left. I was waiting for this. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. The next mayoral election is in November of 2027, as I recall.
Yes.
Will Daniel Mandell's name be on the ballot?
We shall see.
Oh, man.
I've been, juggling it back and forth.
I understand, because it's people don't understand. You're not full-time. You don't get paid a full-time salary.
No, the job pays $13,500 a year.
Yeah, I know. Hey, man, thank you.
Thank you so
much.
Thanks
again for coming. We'll see you again next time.
Yep.
All right, so thanks for watching this week's Talk of the Tiers. As usual, we'll be back next week at 10 a.m. right after Meet the Press right here on WETM TV. Thanks for watching.